Lord. Before I start the health talk, I would like to thank our daddy and mommy for creating this wonderful opportunity for me to be talking to you and for creating the Heal the World mission. When you want to be like somebody, what do? You follow the footsteps of the people. So I'm following the footsteps of our mommy and our daddy, and I'm saying thank you for bringing Heal the World mission, and I want to be like you. I want to open another Heal the World mission too, so that, so that we can spread the love. Praise Master Jesus. I was going through the test that was done this morning. Almost 100 people in the house did their fasting blood sugar and their random blood sugar. Don't mind the big English. Fasting blood sugar means testing for the sugar level when you've not eaten after at least an 8 hours fast. And the random blood sugar is the one you do after you must have eaten. And I want to announce to us that almost everybody in the house is healthy. The sugar levels were normal. And I was looking at the age group, our mommies, the little ones. I said, I only saw 2 figures that were looking somehow, but however, they were still within the normal range. So let's put our hands together for ourselves. Yes, today I will be talking to us about management of the liver and the kidney. How many livers do we have? How many liver do we have in our body? Please, do we know how many liver do we have? 1. Yes, 1. And how many kidneys do we have? 2. Just 1 liver doing so much for our body and 2 kidneys. Don't look at the figure 2 for the kidneys, because the very bad thing about the kidneys, whatever wants to happen to one, nothing happens to one at a time. It happens to the 2 of them at the same time. So you don't say, oh, you have 2 kidneys, so you can just play around with them. No. The only incident where we have something happening to just 1 kidney is maybe you had an accident and there was a trauma to that side. Maybe the vehicle hit you on this side, or somebody stabbed you directly with a knife. That's only when you have just 1 kidney injury. Most times, it happens together. What did I say? So I'm going to be teaching. I have just 20 minutes to talk about the organs as big as the liver. The liver is the 2nd largest organ in the body. After the skin, what does it do? The liver helps in processing all the food we've eaten. How does it do this? When you've eaten your rice, your amala, and your tuwo, the body will convert it into what the liver will have to make use of to provide you the energy you need for your normal activity. So when the liver is dysfunction, it means that whatever you eat does not have what is going to work on it, especially the carbohydrates and the protein. Now the liver also works on the fats. How does it do this? It secretes a substance into the intestine. That substance acts like a detergent. We all know what detergent does to oil when we want to wash our dishes. So that thing the liver will secrete will now act as a detergent to melt fats in the intestine when we eat them. So we don't want an organ as important as the liver to be malfunctioning. Do you understand? Another thing the liver does in children, it helps in production of blood. That's why when you're having issues with your liver, you'll be pale, you'll feel like you'll be white. You check, you'll feel like you don't have blood in your body because something that is assisting in production of blood has been affected. The functions of the liver, I can go on and on and on. What does the kidney also do? It serves as that organ that helps us to remove waste from our body. It's not everything we eat the body makes use of. Yes, the body takes the ones it needs, and the kidney helps by removing the other parts and putting some things too into the body that the blood needs to function. So these 2 vital organs are not organs we want to be playing with, are not organs we want to handle anyhow. They are organs that should be treated with care. So what major diseases can affect these organs? The things that can affect the liver is 1, infection of the liver. What did I say, please? Yes, when there is an infection, it affects the liver. And there are certain infections that loves the liver. Like even when they enter the body, they just go straight to the liver and they stay there. Another thing is drugs. What did I call it? Yes, drugs also affect the liver. Another major thing that affects the liver are toxins. We'll talk about that, but I'm going to be emphasizing on the infection. How many of us have heard about hepatitis B? Yes, I'm glad the numbers are much. How many have been immunized against hepatitis B? How many of us have taken the hepatitis B vaccine? The numbers not so much. Now I want to tell us the National Program of Immunization, Nigerian Program of Immunization, introduced vaccination of hepatitis B in 2004. So children born between 2004 and now we are immunized. If we were born before 2004, you've not been immunized and you think it is not important to immunize. I'm here to tell you that you're not doing the right thing. And when you do the right thing, you stay healthy. Now, the virus hepatitis B, we don't just have hepatitis B, we have hepatitis A, B, C, D, E, and G. All these virus loves the liver. So whenever routes through which they enter your body, they go straight to the liver and cause all the possible harms you can think of. Now, hepatitis B can be contacted faster than even the HIV we are all scared about. Through sweats. When you enter a public vehicle and you're putting on a short sleeve, and the person close to you is also putting on a singlet, and your body is rubbing each other because you're sitting on the same seat. If that person has this virus, you stand a risk. In fact, the chances is so high. That is why you should be immunized, because day to day you hear people talk, you sit close to somebody, you don't know the health status of that person. Is it written on the face? So hepatitis B is that infectious through sweats, through saliva, through sharing of spoons. And it is very endemic in Nigeria. What did I say? It's endemic in Nigeria. Like, it is like malaria in our midst. That is how common it is. And you won't know because some people don't even present with you. You're waiting to see somebody that is sick before you start avoiding the person. That is not the right way. The right way is prevention is better than cure. Now, what does this hepatitis do when it enters into the liver? It goes and starts destroying the liver cells. Destroying it, making the liver not able to perform its normal function. And this hepatitis B it's very used to our weather. So the hot weather does not kill it. You put it inside fridge or freezer for years, it is still there. It is very resistant. So when somebody has this infection, the chances of transmitting it to you is very high. Commonest means of transmission, as I was mentioning earlier, when you have sweat-to-sweat contact with somebody that is infected with the virus, saliva exchange through kissing, sexual intercourse, needle pricks, maybe for health workers, and through mother-to-child transfusion in the womb, transmission in the womb. Because the mother is infected, the child is infected. And when you have a virus that has destroyed your liver, the chances of coming down with liver cancer later in life, it's very high. So you want to do everything possible. And as we said from the beginning, nobody can survive without the liver. Other things that can affect the liver, apart from the hepatitis, the infection we mentioned, which is, the hepatitis is a viral infection. We have other bacteria like toxoplasmosis. I don't want to be calling the big names. We also have some bacteria or infections that can be passed from the feces of a cat. When those infections get into the body too, they can also affect the liver. Another thing that affects the liver so much is alcohol. Everybody say alcohol. What are the kinds of alcohol we have? We have the spirits, the beer, yes. So some people will say I don't take alcohol, so alcohol cannot affect my liver. But now we have fatty liver that is caused by alcohol. And it can be caused by, it can be seen in those that take alcohol. And it can also be seen in those that don't take alcohol. That's what we call the fatty liver disease and the alcohol-dependent fatty liver disease and the non-alcohol-dependent fatty liver disease. So these other people that are not taking alcohol, what are they doing that is making the liver to have issues? The food choices we make also affect us. Now, for those that take alcohol, What does the alcohol do? It doesn't give you any special nutrients in your body. It just goes from organ to organ, causing problems. Then you piss it out. Where are you pissing it out through? The kidneys. So you see, the liver and the kidney have relationship. In the liver is the one that metabolizes, that acts on the alcohol. 90% of the alcohol you take is in the liver that detoxifies it, because the liver is also responsible for making sure that harmful substances that get into your body don't cause harm. So the liver will try to work on this alcohol, while the kidneys try to push it out of the body. When these two organs, the liver and the kidneys, are not functioning, what happens? Those substances that are supposed to be passed out remains retained in the body, and they start causing one problem or the other. And we'll say, some people say they just take only little alcohol. Now, the truth about alcohol is that the little you take each day, you take very little today, you take another little tomorrow, you take next tomorrow. Each little you take is already causing fat distribution in the liver as you're taking it. So the effect occurs over a long period of time. Before you know, you start coming down with, you're tired, you're feeling sick, you're having fever, and you keep treating malaria. You go to the hospital, they'll test you, yes, you have 1+. You will always see 1+ because we are in a malaria endemic region. And the doctor will not be fast to know that, it's possible it's this person's liver that is causing problem, except to start coming down with some other signs that can now make the doctor to localize the cause of your problem. So we don't want to joke with vital organs like the liver and the kidney. And commonly I see on TVs and on radios, they're advertising for somebody needs money for kidney donation, somebody needs money for kidney transplants, and we see how expensive it can be. So these organs that play these vital roles in our body are not organs we want to play with. So I have just 20 minutes. What are the methods in which we can take care of our liver and our kidney? Number one, our lifestyle. How many of us exercised at least for 20, 30 minutes before coming this morning? We all think it's the fat people that should do exercise. I'm not fat now. Why should I exercise? It is not by size, though. Being fat does not, when somebody is fat or when somebody is on the big side, it doesn't necessarily mean the person is eating more than you. It only means the person is eating more than his or her body can take. So the excesses are deposited as fat. You might even eat more than the person, but this person is fatter than you. So fat has the way it comes to everybody. So we should make exercise our lifestyle. You can even do it while having your praise in your house. How do I mean? Like, I don't have time to exercise. So whenever it's time for me to say my morning devotion, I turn my praise section into exercise. I start dancing and praising God. I have achieved 2 things at a time. Is that not it? That way you have exercised, because if you're looking, you don't have time. You have to consciously create a time to do things that can help your body. After exercising, what are we doing? It's also helping to push out, to help the liver and the kidney to function properly. Help them to perform their function the way it should be and keep you healthy. Another thing we can do to stay healthy is to do the necessary immunization. As I stated from the beginning, vaccination for hepatitis B was introduced in 2004 in Nigeria. And most of us in the house, we are not immunized. We are not vaccinated against the common hepatitis B, as common as it is. So you can go to any nearby hospital, or you can come to Faramed Clinic and tell them that you want to check your hepatitis B. You want to check if you have it. Once you're tested negative, the next thing is they will put you on a vaccination program. And it's just 3 doses. You take the first one, after 4 weeks you take the next one, and about 6 months and that is all. And you're free to move about without being scared. And I'm surprised, and we should also vaccinate our children that were not born before that time. or that didn't have the privilege of being vaccinated. So 2 ways of taking care of the kidney is by the kidney and the liver is 1, I said exercise. 2 is by doing what? By vaccinating. 3, there are other diseases that can affect the kidney, especially if you're a known hypertensive, a known diabetic, a known person with fatty liver disease, or any health condition that you're managing. The long-term effect of these diseases is that they affect our liver and our kidney function. So you want to manage your health. You want to make sure that your sugar level is within the normal limits the doctor said it should be. And you want to make sure that your BP is always controlled by taking your drugs. Yes, we are children of God and we are healed by His stripes. Why waiting for this healing? And why having the faith that our Lord Jesus Christ will heal you? You do the parts you can do by taking, somebody will tell me, I only take the drugs when the BP is high. Do you have a natural sensor to test that shows you when your BP is high or not? Please, do we have that? So you must always go to a health facility at least once a week. Just check your BP, check your sugar, and walk away. And it doesn't take time, just like they did this morning. And when you do that, at least, if you can't do once a week, you can say, okay, I can do once a month, which is very okay. But make it a conscious effort to always check and screen for the necessary things and take the necessary vaccines that are also needed for you to stay healthy. Another way we can take care of our liver and our kidneys are the food options we eat. What do you eat? Now we are in the western part, we are in Yoruba land, Abi. And most of our cuisine, most of our food is very rich in palm oil. Am I wrong or right? If you're taking amala and ewedu, there is palm oil. If you're taking jollof rice, they will use vegetable oil, right? Now, the choices of oil we use in our cooking is another point I'm going to be emphasizing this afternoon. They are oils that are very healthy. Like we know the olive oil. Do you know why we use it so much in churches? The pastor can even give you 1 bottle to drink. It's because the cholesterol content is not much. It's very little. And in as much as we are fighting fat, we still need little in our body to help us cushion cold and some other things and to make the body stay in function. So the olive oil, there are other classes of granite oil or vegetable oil that belongs to the class of the olive oil. One of them is the sunflower oil. What kind of oil are you using to cook? You may be hypertensive or you're diabetic and you're thinking maybe these things come at old age. The kind of oil you use to make your children's snacks, the oil you use to fry the eggs they take to school, because this chronic illnesses we are talking about is a long time thing. When they are taking the wrong type of oil, it starts building in the body. And by the time they get to certain age, at 18, I have diagnosed more than 10 people of hypertension. And you'll be wondering, 18 years old, yes. What were the choices of all the mother used for preparing noodles, for preparing all those things? So we have oils that can serve as olive oil. And you can use them to cook because they have a higher smoke point. Like olive oil you can also use, but you know it has this taste that you might not want in your food. So this other oil don't have that taste. They have a neutral taste and they can stand a very high heat point. One of those oils is sunflower oil and canola oil. You can also browse on other good, but those two I know for sure. With the olive oil, of course, if you can afford it. Then I want to talk about palm oil. Whatever quantity you use in making your beans, in making your amala, please reduce it by half. It is too much. Yes, palm oil is very rich in vitamin E and some other nutrients that we need in our body. But you know that those nutrients, you can get it from just taking a palm fruit of oil. We know the natural palm fruits, where they make palm oil from. Just one seed. I can just make it, warm it, and lick it. I've gotten all the necessary nutrients I need from taking palm oil. I don't need to pour a gallon of palm oil. Why am I avoiding palm oil? I'm not saying we should stop it completely. I'm saying reduce it because it contains 50% of saturated fats. And saturated fat is what we don't want because those are the fats that goes and block your arteries. They will go and deposit where it is not needed. and so forth. We all know the pipe that takes water to the tap we use to wash our hand and all that. Imagine when fat starts blocking that pipe. Do you understand? The pressure in the pipe increases because the space it has is now smaller. So what does palm oil, the cholesterol or the fats, the saturated fats to be specific, seen in palm oil, and palm oil contains 50% of that fat, blocks our vessels and deposits in places we don't want, causing us various diseases like diabetes, hypertension, chronic kidney failure, increased cholesterol in the body, obesity, and you can mention so many of them. So aside the palm oil and the groundnut oil we've talked about, other things I can mention when it comes to our diet and our lifestyle choices is what kind of drink do you take? Yes, we're entering into a very hot weather. We are switching from the raining season into the dry season, and we will be thirsty. And our first choice will be the Coke. Your first choice will be Fanta. Please try and make your first choice water. I'm not saying you shouldn't take your Coke, or make it occasionally, because it gradually will stop an habit. If you're used to taking Coke every day, and I'm telling you don't take Coke again, I know you won't do it. You only tell me, doctor, I'm doing it, I'm not taking Coke again. But if you make it, okay, I take Coke 7 times a week, you can reduce it to once a week. Before you know, you make it once a month. And gradually, you're killing those habits that can be harmful to your health in the nearest future. Now, let's also avoid late night eating. What does late night eating do to us? It deposits fats in the wrong places. The body does not have enough time to act on these fats, and we start getting fat in places that we don't want. Number one place you can get abnormal fat accumulation is the abdominal fats. And in our last meeting, I mentioned that abdominal fat causes resistance to the action of insulin. And don't forget, diabetes is one of the causes of chronic kidney failure. So we are still in line. When you have all this, you're having diabetes, hypertension, they are all having their effect on the kidney because of the functions of the kidney. So when you have so much fat, in fact, abdominal fat is one of the top lists. If you have abdominal fats, the chances of coming down with diabetes type 2 is like 70%, because those fat causes resistance to the action of what will help you push this sugar to where your body is needing them. So we want to avoid late night food. Then we want to also make better food options. As I said in our last meeting, you're having an option of eating unripe plantain swallow. You're having an option of taking pounded yam. So many people chose pounded yam. Yes, you can eat your pounded yam. But why not reduce how often we take pounded yam? What does pounded yam do? It supplies us strength. It's so sweet in the mouth when you're swallowing it. But yet, it helps our body's sugar to come high. Things like pounded yam, things like rice, white bread, and all that, they are good. But what do? They increase the way, when you take them, your body will now digest them, and when the body is absorbing them, they release sugar into your blood. They release so much quantity of sugar, and they release them fast. But when you take blood, those food I mentioned, the bread, the rice, they have high glycemic index. Food that have high glycemic index are food that when you take them, the sugar it releases into your blood is so much that it doesn't give your body enough chance to finish clearing up that sugar, and you're hungry again. But the food with low glycemic index, like fruits, vegetables, your unripe plantain, either roasted, swallow, they have low glycemic index. The food that fall into this class, when you take them, they release sugar into your blood slowly, giving you the energy you need to function normally. And while doing that, they make you feel full. You're not hungry over a long period of time. So you can see the difference is so much. And you just drink Coke and you take buns. The next 2 hours, you're hungry. You're asking what is wrong. Because you've taken something that is releasing so much sugar at a very fast rate, and the next minute you're hungry. You take another sugar, the next minute you're already, the problem is just waiting for you. You're piling it up. If I say don't eat rice and don't eat bread, what does doctor want us to eat? There are other forms of rice that we have within us. The ofada rice, the common ofada rice, does not have as much calorie, or the glycemic index is not as high as the common one you know. We have basmati rice. Those rice are also very good. Which other rice do we have? You browse and find out more things you can eat and more options. And I would rather prefer you buying an apple or taking a healthy vegetable or fruit than going for junks. It's not 100% achievable to avoid these things, because you might be very hungry and the only place you find yourself is where they are selling just snacks, donuts, and at least you're taking it once in a while. Not something that has become your routine, that every afternoon you must eat buns and moi moi and all that. Are we with us? Okay. Lastly, from the beginning I was mentioning you should do a daily health check or a weekly health check or a monthly health check and all that. Now on the screen you will see the stages of liver disease. Why we don't want to have issues with our liver and our kidney. You will see the healthy liver looking so red. Then look at this, the yellow organ, something looking like a pear shape. It's yellow just underneath the liver. I can't point, I can't use this pointer. I don't know if we are seeing that yellow. The one just underneath the liver is yellow. It's the gallbladder. You know what that thing is? Whenever you kill your chicken or your cow or your goat, that green stuff that you say if you mistakenly cut it, it will make the meat bitter. That's the gallbladder, just beneath the liver. So it's the one that helps you in when you take palm oil. That thing has a detergent effect to melt the fats you're taking in so that the body can make use of it. When you take too much fat and this thing cannot work, what happens? The fat start building up. And you know, fat is a little tough. From being tough, it becomes very strong and it starts forming stones. You start hearing they say I have a stone in my liver. They say I have stone in my kidney. Yes, because the effect of that substance you're seeing also helps to neutralize all those stones. Now you're not having problem with this. You start having stones because the substance that will help to melt those things and no more, your liver is no more producing them, either because it is dysfunctioning or you've used alcohol or several things you've taken to destroy them. So you start having issues. Number one of the things that will happen is your stool will not be looking the normal color. The stool, the physics, your urine will be white. It won't have that yellowish stinge. This same thing does that. It has its action. It also helps us not to have constipation. How does it do that? You know, intestine, roundabouts, those of us that used to buy roundabouts, you know it's slimy. This same organ helps us to secrete that slimy substance in the intestine that makes you not to have constipation so that the feces can move freely. It also has things that can destroy infections and several toxins in our body. So an organ as important as the liver is not something we want to joke with. Now imagine when you're not even able to urinate. You know, you don't know how healthy you are until you start having you can't urinate. I've seen elderly men, women, once you can help them, maybe they'll just come. You'll see this lower part of their stomach. It will be so swollen. And they can't pass urine. Why? Because the kidney formed a stone that moved down and went to stay in the tank where the urine stores, Abby, and is now blocking a place. The moment you're able to just use that little injection and you just choke them at the lower abdomen here and draw out small urine and they feel that relief, they'll just tell you thank you. You don't know how discomforting. We shouldn't learn from the problems that have happened to us. We should learn from what we see and what we've been taught about. Learning the hard way is not a way to go about life. So when you take care of your kidney and you take care of your liver the way you should, all these sicknesses will, even if they will come, it will be at the later stages of life. And you can make use of your health and do all the hustling and the running about, and the Lord grant us the strength to do that in Jesus' name. Another thing I'm going to be talking about is our body mass index. Body mass is the measurement of your height over your weight. It helps us to know if you are obese, if you are fat. Let me use the word. Now, some people just feel because they are looking that moderate size that they are okay. When maybe you come to the hospital and I say, okay, check his height. Then I divide it by your weight. If what I'm getting is between 18 to 25, I'll say, okay, this person is okay. But once it's more than 25, you're already on the obese side. You now pass 30. It is a serious matter. Please, I'm also here to tell us that whenever you visit a health facility, tell them that you want to know your what? Your body mass index. Another checkup you can do to stay healthy is to know your cholesterol level. Yes, it's a test we do commonly in the hospital. They call it the lipid profile. You want the doctor to check. Doctor, please check. Being slim is not a factor of having a good lipid profile. The kind of food you eat, as I mentioned earlier, affects all those things. When you check your lipid profile, you'll be able to tell, are you at risk of coming down with certain illnesses? Yes, because if you have the bad cholesterol being higher than the good cholesterol, you are going to come down with diabetes, you're going to come down with hypertension, you're going to come down with all these diseases that will have their later effect on the kidney. So you also want them to check your cholesterol level. I've mentioned we should check our immunization, we should do our daily BP check, we should also do healthy living that can help us so that we don't come down with the preventive diseases that can affect the kidney and the liver. And I've been mentioning some of them. I've mentioned alcohol liver disease and the non-alcohol liver disease, the hepatitis, chronic kidney failure. You don't want that. And there's another disease we call the polycystic kidney disease. That's one. The kidney will just start forming, like, which English will I use to describe it? You know, when you say you have boil or you have pus, so the kidney will start having several pus or boil, things that accumulate in water. Not. And that happens when the kidney is trying to fight all the toxic substances we've been taking in. Another good food we can eat, I forgot to mention, is the egg. The common egg. I'm mentioning this because there is this, some people will tell you don't eat egg. Some people will say eat egg. Egg only contains a dietary cholesterol that is good for us. It doesn't contain the bad fats. So you can eat your boiled egg. You can fry your egg, please, with good oil, not with because you're trying to cut costs. You just go and measure those ones they sell in the market. You don't even know what it's made of. You are trying to cut costs and harming yourself. That money you saved from cutting costs, you go and spend it in the hospital. Then you now meet the quacks. They will now pass substance that will cause yellowness of your urine, and you'll be passing it out. They'll say, you see as your urine is very yellow, you're passing out every bad thing from your body, and they'll collect your money, and you're still very sick, and the problem have not even started. We should also make it an habit. Heal the World Mission. Some time ago, we visited a motherless baby home. We visited the orphanage center. Yes, I was there with mommy and daddy. Visit hospitals. Don't just sit down and say, my neighbor had this, I want to thank the Lord that I don't have this. And see what people are going through. So you will now know when they say prevention is better than cure. You won't take it for granted. So that's why I'm emphasizing on the things you can do to help these major organs. Because if I start mentioning big English, you won't understand. So I'm trying to come down to the level we can really grasp what we can do and what we cannot do. And that way, life go better for all of us. I've been over so. I want to show, I'm trying to show us, okay, the picture on the projector, on the screen, it's showing the difference between a normal liver and the fatty liver. So you can see when the fat start gathering, the fatty cells, look at the one above where they wrote normal liver, those round substance with the purple dots in the middle. Now come below and see how fat is beginning to take over those round stuff. See that yellowish? They wrote fatty cells by the side. That's what happens when the liver is becoming fatty. These fatty cells will continue to occupy the space and push the normal structure of the liver. We'll push those ones aside. And by the time the entire liver is now fatty, the function of the liver, you will not even have appetite to eat because you will feel full. You'll be losing weight. You'll feel like vomiting. Some people they will start having that yellowish coloration of the eyes. Abi? It's not everybody that has the yellowish coloration. Some people's body will even fight it to the extent that they don't have those colors. And you will just see them passing and you will think they are okay. And you've not vaccinated. You've not done all the measures. That's the diagram of the fatty liver. Are we seeing the diagram of the two? The difference is very clear. The healthy liver by the side and the fatty liver. Please, I need an image of the kidney. There's an image of the kidney that has... Keep going down. Another way to know if your liver is fatty, the popular scan we do can tell you if you have a fatty liver. Yes, the liver will start looking white. And when compared, the person doing the scan can tell you, you should go and do other tests to be sure that your liver is not fatty. Then lastly, how many of us are going to screen for hepatitis B this month, before this November ends? How many of us are going to take the vaccines? In government hospitals, it's free. I don't think you have to pay. They might just ask you to pay 100 naira or 200 for card, where they will be recording the dates you came. In some private hospitals, they charge a little because of the way they got the vaccines. Do you understand? So it's not sex, it's just your transport you will take there and hold like 500 and tell them you want to take vaccine for hepatitis. Why I'm saying this is that it is so common. Like out of every 100, I can tell you that 75 people. And you won't know. They'll just walk in healthy. Yes, and another important habit I want to discourage is taking of drugs. Paracetamol is very harmful to the liver if abused. You just have headache, you take paracetamol. Your leg is paining you, you take paracetamol. You take it. It can cause liver problem. Yes. This common paracetamol you just buy across the counter and you take. We don't want, so make sure your drugs are being prescribed by somebody that knows so much about, and don't abuse drugs. Then a very common thing in this environment is agbo, the popular herbs. I have taken agbo jedi. They will tell me, yes, and I feel better. Doctor, I was feeling somehow, and I just took this agbo and my body is fine. I'm not completely against the herbal mixture, but I always tell my patients that the people that knew about these herbs, it's like when they passed, that's when they died. They didn't train the people that took over very well, because I don't think they know the mixture again. Same, I always tell people, even these traditional bone people, yes, I've seen where somebody had an accident and they took to the bone setters and the person was fine. But these days, they end up dying. They will even kill that leg or kill the hand. So I used to tell people that I don't know. It's like the people that learned the skills of how to prepare these herbs. They didn't learn it well. Of course, there is decay in our educational system. People that score 500 in WAEC then will score 200 now. So maybe that's what happened to them too. They didn't learn it very well. I've seen a very young lady, she said she was raped and she had HIV. And somebody told her if she takes these herbs, she's going to feel better. Now, HIV is not a death sentence. I can even be HIV positive. You don't know. You'll see them very healthy, sweet looking if they take their drugs and take care of themselves. And this girl was taking these herbs. What happened? By the time she was presenting to the hospital, her both kidneys were already packing, because the herbs were already killing her faster than the virus she thought was the problem. I've seen children die from taking these herbs too, because of, I don't know, those mixing it. I don't know how trusted whoever is preparing your herbs for you is. But these herbs have substances that those people that produce drugs have been able to remove those toxic substances and taken the healthy part of the herbs to form the drugs you take normally. So when you're taking some of these herbs, some of them are alcohol-based or water-based, you are affecting your liver and your kidney. And you come down with this problem later, you start calling witches and wizards and your forefathers that didn't have any stake in your herbs taking. Please, let's be health conscious, follow the rules, vaccinate when necessary, take healthy decisions when it comes to your eating, check your blood pressure and your sugar routinely, and we'll all be fine and healthy. And by his stripes, we will always be healed. Have a nice day.